2,000 years ago, in the scorching heart of a Roman summer, a man could walk into a stone room and feel the heat leave his body like water draining from a bath. No fans, no machines, no electricity, just cold, still air sitting heavy against thick stone walls, and the quiet sound of water moving through the dark. Right now, as the 2026 heatwave turns cities into ovens and power grids buckle under the pressure of 10 million air conditioners running at once, that forgotten Roman trick has never mattered more. Modern AC units are loud, expensive, and completely helpless the moment the grid goes down. The Romans knew something we have spent 2 centuries unlearning. They understood that you do not fight heat by generating cold. You remove heat by letting physics do the work. Their weapon was the frigidarium, the cold room. And it was not just a room. It was a machine built from stone, water, and geometry. Today we are building one from scratch. And what happens inside it will change the way you think about shelter forever. The gravity-fed infrastructure. The first thing the Romans understood was pressure, not the kind you pump, the kind gravity gives you for free. Picture a hillside above a Roman villa. A stone cistern sits high up the slope, fed by a channel running from a spring or aqueduct. That elevation, sometimes only 4 or 5 meters above the building, creates enough natural water pressure to push water through a network of narrow pipes running into the walls below, all day, every day, without a single pump or moving part. The pipes themselves were the real genius. They were not made from smooth lead or sealed clay. They were made from porous terracotta, fired earth with tiny gaps in the clay body. Under gentle pressure, water does not just flow through these pipes, it sweats through them. A fine, invisible film of moisture bleeds out through the wall of the pipe and soaks directly into the surrounding stone. The pipe is not just carrying water, it is feeding it, slowly and constantly, into the bones of the building. And the loop was self-sustaining. Excess water drained away at the base, keeping the system from flooding, while fresh water kept moving through from above. Gravity fed it, gravity drained it. The Romans never touched it again. Now here is where the physics becomes almost violent in its elegance. The terracotta pipes were embedded inside walls built from limestone or tuff, a volcanic stone that is naturally porous and dense at the same time. These walls were not thin. Roman walls in cooling chambers ran 1/2 meter thick or more. That thickness was not just strength, it was storage. When the water sweated out of the pipes and into the stone, something remarkable happened. As that moisture reached the inner surface of the wall and met the drier air of the room, it evaporated. Evaporation is not just water disappearing. It is water stealing heat. Every molecule of water that turns to vapor pulls thermal energy out of the stone around it, latent heat, physicists call it, and carries it away. The stone grows colder. And because there is so much stone, and because the cooling happens deep inside the wall and not just on the surface, the cold builds up and stays. The wall becomes a battery charged with cold, slowly radiating it into the room hour after hour, even as the sun hammers the outside. The Romans also understood wind. The frigidarium walls were aligned to face the prevailing summer breeze, and high, narrow windows on opposite sides of the room created a natural pressure difference. Hot air near the ceiling was pulled up and out. Cooler air was drawn in low and slow across the wet stone surfaces, accelerating the evaporation and deepening the chill. The room breathed. It was designed to breathe. When we point a thermal imaging camera at the reconstructed chamber walls, after the system has been running for just 6 hours, the stone glows a deep, steady blue on the display, cold radiating outward in a broad, even sheet across the entire surface. There are no hot spots, no dead zones. The temperature drop inside the chamber is not a reading at one corner of the room. It is everywhere, uniform and remarkably stable. 15 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than the outside air. In a heat wave, that is the difference between suffering and surviving. And unlike the sharp, dry blast of a mechanical air conditioner, which dries out your airways, makes your eyes itch and stops working the moment the power does, this air is slightly humid, it feels alive, it feels like stepping into a forest, not a refrigerator. The body responds to it differently. The cooling feels deeper than the numbers suggest because it wraps around you instead of hitting you from one direction. You do not need a Roman aqueduct to build this. You need a water tank elevated above your structure, terracotta or unglazed clay pipe, thick earthen or stone walls, and the patience to align your openings with the wind. Modern off-grid builders are doing exactly this in hot, dry climates from Arizona to East Africa, cutting their cooling load to almost zero and building homes that stay comfortable through 40-degree days without a single watt of electricity. The Romans did not think of this as luxury, they thought of it as architecture. They understood that a clever building is warmer than a blanket in winter and cooler than a fan in summer, if you design it to work with the physics of heat rather than against it. The real lesson here is not just about staying cool, it is about rethinking what engineering actually means. The most powerful tool the Romans had was not their concrete or their legions. It was their willingness to observe how the natural world moved heat and then simply get out of the way. Every time the grid fails in a heat wave, and it will fail again, someone somewhere is going to wish they had a thick stone room with water moving quietly through the walls. The Romans built those rooms and used them for centuries. The knowledge never disappeared. It just got buried under the convenience of electricity. Now that convenience has a price we are starting to feel. History has a way of being right a second time, and the Frigidarium is waiting. Share this with someone who needs to rethink their shelter game, and subscribe to The Survival Historian for more deep dives into the moments when human ingenuity and raw survival collided. The past is full of answers we have not remembered to ask for yet. We are going to find them together.